Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, toys and squirrels, whoever you may be, we finally got some BONELAB news. That's right, after about 83 centuries of waiting, Brandon has finally given us something to go off. So today, I'm going to relay that to you and just show what he tweeted and the awesome communication we got. Brandon today just randomly decided to tweet about patch 4, and so he tweeted, "Unless plans change, which they often do, patch 4 is less than a month away." So that was the first part of that. And of course, community outrage for BONELAB was insane. Everyone was super hyped. And then he goes on to tweet this about an hour later. Patch 4 has been done for a bit. Patch 5 is in final testing. 6 is being locked tomorrow for polish. 7 and 8 is well underway. And 9 needs work, but is planned. A year of invisible foundational work was needed to make way for them all. Get your bib on Lava Gang. So apparently, the community of BONELAB just decided to jump to life, and I guess they're finally going to update it to patch 9, apparently, eventually, which is insane, because we thought patch 4 would never come out, and apparently they've been working all the way up to patch 8 and 7 currently, so it's like, yeah, that's pretty crazy, but there's other stuff that he replied to. So in response to this, as many of you may be thinking, Landon asks, why not just release them as soon as they are done? We've been waiting for patch 4 and all of a sudden 5 more patches are in production? Brandon responded with, because they will cause instability for Lava Gang, better to give them a stable dev environment for as long as possible than concentrate a disruption before another period of stability. So I think what this means is he's trying to say they want to keep mods as stable as possible for as long as possible. But they want to release the patches in conjunction each, and he says they're between 6 weeks as well. So every 6 weeks a patch is planned to be released. To me personally, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because I feel like at that point you're just breaking the game and mods in succession with each patch. But I think also they might have I think that's what they've been working on with the SDK. Is everything is plugged into the SDK, right? So once it updates, the SDK will just automatically update the mod with it, and the mods won't break. So I'm not entirely sure if that is what's going to happen, but that seems to be their plan, is to release them every 6 weeks. And then one of the greatest modders in the community, in my opinion, Buggo, asks, has the physics culling system been tested, or at least somewhat designed to work with multiple rigs in a scene? I would assume it would just not cull if there's a rig near. And Brandon responds with, nope, that feature will be called multiple observers when it happens. So it sounds like the ability to have multiple rigs in one scene, as in one level, is not currently available and has not been developed. So Brandon hints at that being a thing, and hopefully it will be. And in addition to talking about that, Brandon also says, remember that rigs will also be NPCs in future games, so they simply keep the physics unculled. An observer interacts with the culling system. And Buggo says, I see. Essentially what he means by this is the NPCs will straight up learn based off player activity in the rig. So it sounds like player rig models are just going to be tracked to the point where they can, so it sounds like what this is going to be is player rigs are just going to be tracked in all their movements to the point where they can straight up replicate the player movements in an NPC and just have the same rigs as the player. Which is kind of freaking insane if you think about it. I can't imagine the crazy amount of AI they're going to have to develop for that, but I fully trust Stress Level 0. They've made some very, very insane things. So, and as Brandon mentioned in previous tweets, our good pal Evro asks, so you have targeted goals for each patch? Will that be the case where each patch corresponds with a major SDK update? Like this one adds scene zones, of course, but then maybe patch 5 will be guns or something? Brandon responds with, yep, they're all Marrow focused and paired with the SDK updates. Not DLC, as Jay said, GMs and not players. So they have spent so much time working on the SDK and not really just no time updating BONELAB itself as a game, and that's perfectly fine because mods are 10 times better than the actual game already. People may see that and be like, oh, you haven't actually spent any work on the game, what's wrong with you? But no. They've been working hard on the SDK, which means people can make a lot cooler mods. And, yeah. So, no actual DLC, probably, if I had to guess, no actual game updates other than physics systems and quality of life changes, obviously. But, yeah, I would assume there's no actual, new content. And this last little piece here I thought was important to include. So this fellow asks, so what's the difference between these patches and game updates? Is there a chance multiple patches will be a part of singular updates? Then Brandon responds, we started with the term patch on this game and it stuck. I wouldn't read into the word choice too much. More work went into patch 4 than making of duck season. And they said they spent 15 months total making the entirety of duck season. So yeah, that should tell you how much work went into the SDK.